Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however, wherever, whenever you're listening. This is the Root for Wisconsin Show, episode 158, coming at you from the Riverwood Gallery Studio in De Pere, Wisconsin. I'm host, producer Eric Fisher, the Big E. Joining me this week, only person joining me this week, member of the Highway 22 crew, Sean Klossman. Sean, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good myself. Very somber day, with it being the remembrance of 9/11 today, and just everything kind of going on with that. Save my personal stuff going on too, but very somber day, but pretty good, all things considered. So with that in mind, I mean, it's a perfect day for a podcast, kind of distract ourselves from all that other crap, because we got some sports to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. First and foremost, always got to start off with our friends over at Raging Pro Wrestling. RPW coming up on November 1st and 2nd. Back-to-back nights, back-to-back shows. RPW Envision 3. And want to make sure I get the other one right, because this is the one I always struggle with. So I don't want to... No, RPW Destiny 4 taking place Destiny 4, November 1st, Big Apple Pub and Grill, and then Envision 3, November 2nd, Big Apple Pub and Grill, both in Manitowoc. Tickets available for both. Not going to want to miss either show. rpwprowrestling.com for tickets, as well as look sharp in the Fox River Mall. Without further ado, Sean, let's hop right into the episode, talking about what we had rooted for in the past week and a half, and really the last 8 days. I'll start this one off and just kind of going through here. And my root for, as always, just is the start of football season. Just a great time to be a football fan, where we've kind of gotten into that time where you've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday games going on in the primetime hours at, during the day, Saturday and Sunday. Even when your team's not playing, it's a fantastic time, because there's so many games, there's so many storylines. You can look at your fantasy teams, you can place a couple wagers if you're into that. So plenty to be had. Start of that kind of ramp up the baseball playoffs going on as well. So plenty of stuff to root for and pay attention to is what I had in my mind. What about you?
Yeah, that was about the same thing I had. It was nice to sit on the couch on Sunday and just watch some football.
Truly was.
Yeah, Friday night too, with the Packer game being Friday night.
I gotta say, I don't know how many people were aware of this or not, but for those of you that were not, I was in the middle of a high school football game when the Packers were playing, and I did not miss a snap. And I'm very proud of that. Do want to shout out to my fellow broadcaster, Paul Schmidt. He's listening, because we had such an effective system where we were set up right on the left side of the Kiwani press box, furthest window over, which that part doesn't really matter, but where we were was pretty much midfield, so we could see the whole field. And I was able to have my program up so I could get names for both teams, phone on the bottom of the program, and watch the game from my phone on Peacock and enjoy the game going on above me, and not miss a beat with either one. I think I'm very proud of myself on multitasking on that one. Kiwani got the win on their end, so the team we were covering got their win. Packers did not come out as fortunate, but we'll talk more about that a little bit later in the episode. So with the positives do come the negatives. And Sean, Tyler Hero, Noogie of the Week, what do you got for us here?
I'm going to go with the New York Giants.
What about them specifically? You're not wrong on anything you've got. I'm just curious what specifically.
For letting Saquon walk for absolutely nothing. And then for letting Saquon get 3 touchdowns on Friday night, that is more than Daniel Jones has had for the last 2 seasons for passing touchdowns. So, and giving him a what is his contract? 180 million, something like that.
It's pretty significant. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but
I thought it was like 40 million a year or something like that.
It's a lot more than it ought to be.
Yes. And to have more touchdowns to the opposite team than his own team also.
So, Sean, I know you're not as big into the uniform scene as probably I am, but I know that you have had your moments of being big into the uniform world and Uniwatch and all that. How bad did their jerseys look on Sunday with that Michigan faux back throwback with it was awful.
Yeah, I don't even know if I saw the jerseys, to be completely honest with you. I'll have to look them up here in a little bit and just see.
It's not good. There is no part of them that is any bit good.
Like, was it a tribute to like early Giants teams or just?
See, I'll be honest. I don't know if it's a true throwback or if it's kind of like a faux back, where it's inspired by a past jersey. But regardless of what it was honestly sickening and how it actually turned out. Here, I'll kind of show you. I don't know how well you'll see this from my phone to the screen, but that is
okay.
No part of that is any good.
It looks like your CFL teams or your UFL teams.
Like a practice jersey for them.
Right.
Like it's bad.
It's like those created jerseys when you create your own team on Madden that they give you.
Yeah, like a early, I guess I shouldn't say early Madden, but like Madden 06. Created jersey on Team Builder on Madden 06 is what that looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said, "Hey, here's our colors. Figure it out."
Right.
Yeah, I that's almost noogie worthy alone, just the jersey, let alone the actual on-field performance. My noogie of the week is going to go to ESPN. And also, and I don't know the exact specifics, so it also very well could be to DirecTV. I don't know which one I'm actually mad at, but right now it's both.
I just found this out tonight, so I'm right there with you on this.
So I'm gonna pay. I gotta go on this. So this is about 2 weeks of a battle that I have going on here. This goes back. So last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but 2 Saturdays ago, Labor Day weekend, I was happy as a clam. I was watching College Game Day in the morning. I was ecstatic, over the moon. First week of real college football. I mean, I know there's the week 0 or whatever, but first weekend of real, like, full schedule college football. Thrilled. Watched College Game Day. Got up, had games all day Saturday. The Badgers had played that Friday night, so I really didn't have any stakes to anything. Just got to watch college football. And I think at some point in the day, I was made aware that there's a contract dispute between AT&T or Disney and DirecTV, or AT&T and Disney, who owns ESPN or whatever. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's because I'm streaming that's not affected, because I saw people bitching about it 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was immune. Until this Saturday, where I'm sitting here, gonna go watch College Game Day, get ready for the headgear picks, see what Lee Corso and his shenanigans are up to. And I get this message on my screen that says I can't watch it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Now I'm pissed off, because then I'm sitting there forced to watch Texas dog walk Michigan when the Tulane game apparently was really good. That was on ESPN in the 11 o'clock window. And I'm stuck watching Tulane or Michigan's pathetic excuse of an attempt to beat Texas and watch them struggle. I was real worried I wasn't going to be able to watch Monday Night Football with, week 1 of Niners Jets. A lot of fantasy implications going on there, not to mention the Aaron Rodgers effect. Luckily, that game was over the air. I guess yeah. So got around it that way. But man, oh man, I don't know whose fault it is, so I'm gonna blame both for the time being, but not a happy guy. Like, let's figure this out. We got football to watch, and one of the biggest cable providers in the country. I mean, DirecTV, between DirecTV Stream, ATT Uverse, and just regular DirecTV. Let's figure something out here, folks.
Right, because that didn't affect ESPN Plus or anything like that, right?
Well,
Or
yes
would it?
and no. So when I went to, because I was trying to watch College Game Day on Saturday, went on to ESPN, my mobile app, tried watching it that way, and it asked for my TV provider because it's like ESPN. If it's ESPN or ESPN2, it's supposed to. If it's like ESPN3 or like an ESPN Plus, like a college football broadcast, it wouldn't. Like, you don't need the cable provider for that. But I'm sitting here, and I guess Shawna figured it out Monday night when I got home because I was running errands, but she was able to watch it there as well. I don't know if that was because of ABC, or if it was just that they kind of said, "Hey, F it, if you're paying ESPN Plus, you should be able to watch stuff that's on ESPN," which I wholeheartedly agree with. But regardless, I did get to watch the game this week. Missed out on game day, and might miss out on game day again this weekend, and that's just a problem.
Gonna have to sign up for ESPN Plus.
I do have ESPN Plus. That's why I'm so pissed. I have ESPN Plus, and I still couldn't watch the shit. And it makes no sense to me on why. I mean, like, during basketball season, where it's college basketball, where I'm trying to watch Green Bay games as I'm broadcasting them and stuff, or even if I'm not broadcasting them, I still want to be able to watch Green Bay because they play ESPN3 or ESPN Plus, whatever. It's worth it for that. It's worth it for the 30 for 30 documentaries and all that. But if I can't watch what's on ESPN, why the hell am I paying for it?
Yep. I was just at my parents' and found this out tonight. I didn't even know there was a dispute going on.
Yeah, and then they have the audacity to throw up some message. Oh, this is ESPN and Disney's fault. Here's a way to get a credit on your bill. Which, I mean, I have my parents' subscription of DirecTV, so I'll I don't have anything on this, but
I'll be getting my parents when we set theirs up. So,
but still,
right,
pissed.
Yeah.
That's my noogie. Aside from that, I mean, everything's pretty good otherwise. So, and then just hating on the Giants jerseys because those were,
and the Jets jerseys too, because some of them were awful big.
So, yeah,
it just looked really weird.
I'm gonna agree with you on that too. I mean, when you were texting me about it, and I didn't really have a good angle to see it, the jerseys. You said they look too big, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, maybe they're wearing them like untucked and long, kind of like how Charles Woodson did.
Mm-hmm.
I very quickly saw that was not the case. And for what it's worth, so it was Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner are probably the most evident of this.
It seemed
wasn't, it wasn't the jersey length or anything, or like even like the width of it. It was the sleeves that threw it off the most.
I don't know if they were trying to be like Rodgers, because Rodgers always wore his sleeves like that, or has always wore his sleeves like that.
Right.
Which did Brett.
I don't know, because it looked terrible, and I'm gonna be honest. If that was the case, then maybe. But I could not foresee Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. I very much see them as like the tight to the jersey kind of guys, and that's kind of just the position they play. I mean, you're not seeing too many receivers or DBs with the long sleeves like that out of kind of like a skill thing. I mean, it gives you a little extra advantage where you can't really get grabbed that way.
Or it's able to see they're getting grabbed more. I don't know.
Very well. That could be it too. Or maybe, like you said, maybe it's the Aaron Rodgers effect. I'm gonna go on record saying it's probably not, but I've been wrong before. It's very few and far between, but it does happen.
Right. Can we get Shawna to clarify this?
She's not available. I don't know what you want me to do.
I can call her.
I feel like she'd agree.
Right.
I can't confirm or deny, but my gut instinct would be that she would agree.
Okay. I'll call her right now and see.
I don't think you need to do that. I mean, we're in the
We'll
middle of
see.
the podcast.
I'll tell her.
All right. Well, let's move on to the world of sports. And actually, before we do that, we do have to go our Wisconsin web story of the week. And this one actually does come a bit from the world of sports. And I thought it was something kind of cool. I saw this on TikTok today through WTMJ in Milwaukee. And did you know, Sean, that in Wisconsin, and not just Wisconsin, but it kind of formed here, there is a league of baseball players and baseball teams that go across the Midwest that play by the 1860 rules, and the Milwaukee Grays. And they don't play with gloves because in 1860 gloves weren't invented yet. There's no called strikes. Balls caught on the first bounce are an out, and you cannot call a person by their name. It's by nicknames only.
Okay.
They wear the old timey, like, looks like cotton or wool uniforms. They've got the long sleeves, long pants, underhand pitching.
Huh.
It's pretty cool. So I saw this story. They go across Indiana, Minnesota, Illinois. There is a second Milwaukee team now to get more games in Wisconsin. But
Guys, or
is it what?
Are they older guys or just younger guys? Or all
It looks like a pretty healthy mix. It looks like from the video that I saw again from TikTok, it looks like probably 50 to 60 for the most part. A couple guys maybe in their 40s, but maybe a couple guys in their late 30s, but pretty impressed. It's kind of cool. I can send it to you, and that's our Wisconsin web story of the week. TMJ4 in Milwaukee had the story, and I'm sure there's a more full story to it, but definitely made for a cool video just to kind of I came across that today. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure. There might have been. Let me just make sure that I didn't miss one because I thought there might have been 2 this week. Yeah, nothing else that I can really see. I do, there was one that we did miss last week, but just that there are corn mazes, as we get into the fall here. Corn mazes throughout Green Bay and the surrounding area that are honoring the NFL draft coming to Green Bay, specifically in Porter's Patch in Bondwell.
Oh, go on
a little closer to home. They have a Green Bay and NFL draft featured corn maze, as well as Polly's Pumpkin Patch in Chilton, Pedals and Plows Greenhouse in Ripon, and then Phelps's Dairy Store in Portage County are all part of the 2025 draft promotion, each one of them having their own draft-themed corn maze. So cool. Definitely something kind of cool in that capacity as well. So go ahead and check those out. Trying to see if I can find. Yeah, it looks like the Porter's Pumpkin Patch officially opens for the corn maze on September 20th. So a week from Friday. Yes.
Yeah.
So definitely something worth checking out in the area.
We went to Blazers on Saturday and bought some mums. So we got 3 mums for our front porch. So looks pretty cool.
I gotta say, Sean, never expected you to be saying that mums look cool on your front porch. But the growth, man, the growth that you have had.
Front porch?
Yeah. Very proud of you.
I didn't pick them up, or I picked out one. So.
You successfully picked out one, or you only got to pick one?
I successfully picked out one.
Okay.
Approval and everything.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Yeah, by the way, just confirming, because I just now, phone must have heard me talking. There is indeed a full story out on TMJ4's website. So there is cool, and you can join it simply just by sending an email to the Grays on their team website.
Huh, cool.
So they games are free to attend, and at Estabrook Park down in Milwaukee, September 14th. So this Saturday and October 6th will be their home games coming up. So be sure to check those out if you're in the area and looking for some vintage, old-timey baseball.
Sweet.
Speaking now to the present and getting into our full sports portion of the evening, baseball is heading towards the playoffs in the MLB and minor league baseball levels. First, we'll start with the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, whose playoffs started yesterday night, Sean. And in a best-of-3 series, the Timber Rattlers were able to get a win in Game 1 on the road. It's a best-of-3, so Game 1 out on the road. Games 2 and 3, if necessary, are at home in Appleton. I will be in attendance for that game for tomorrow night, so hopefully we can see the Timber Rattlers clinch tomorrow night. Clinch their first playoff series win since 2012. They had gone 0-4 since the Midwest League Championship in 2012. Had gone 0-4 in playoff games since that time. But back in the playoff swing are the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. And I've only gotten out to one game this year. It just busy schedule and life and everything that kind of comes with that. But
wedding thing.
Yeah, getting married and having other people getting married, just kind of I don't want to say it's a drag, but it is mildly inconvenient for going to baseball games. But the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers are home Thursday night, taking on the Quad Cities River Bandits. First pitch at 6:40. Tickets are still available. We'll probably touch on that a little bit later in the show. But tickets are available for Thursday night's game. Starting pitcher has been named already for the Timber Rattlers. It will be, let's see if I can pull it up here. It will be Will Rudy, who recently had gotten called up from Low A Carolina. On the 2024 season, he is 6-8 with a 4.61 ERA. For his minor league baseball career, he's appeared in 41 games with an 11-11 record. Has 175 strikeouts over 195 innings, and a 4.13 ERA. He is 6-8 with the Timber Rattlers this season. It looks like he has been with the Timber Rattlers all season. So should be a good time at the ballpark tomorrow night. $3 brats, $3 craft beers as well, as part of their craft beers and brews on Thursday that they do. The 999 challenge with brats and beer. Well, I tell you, I'm not driving, so it's on the table. It probably won't happen.
Why not?
Because I have to work the next day. But
you work from home. It's no big deal.
But Timber Rattlers playoff baseball at home for a potential chance to clinch the opening round of the Midwest League playoffs. If they would lose, Game 3 will be Friday evening, once again against Quad Cities, for that chance to move on to the following round of the playoffs. So be sure to be there. And that is the division series, so I believe there would be 2 more rounds yet, if that would be the case. So MILB playoffs in full swing. The Brewers are gearing up for a potential playoff run as well. The Brewers currently with an 8.5 game lead in the NL Central and currently sitting 2.5 games back of the Dodgers for the 2 seed. Even with going on a little bit of a rough patch last week at home, they went 2-4 on a homestand last week, but still sitting in a great position. Have officially clinched a winning record. Magic number is down to 9. So plenty of fun on that end as well. But chasing the Dodgers right now to try to skip out on the wild card round and see if they can get directly into the NLDS with that second, or in the case that they can chase down the Phillies, only 3.5 behind the Phillies, which they have a 3-game set against them next week.
Did you see the bench clearing brawl, or not really brawl, between the Phillies and the Rays?
I saw something happen, but I did not see specifics on what happened.
I guess Castellanos had been getting hit like every game
Sure.
of the series, and he got smoked by 98 again. And Bryce Harper came flying in from second base and was totally pissed at the pitcher. It was just kind of funny.
I mean, that checks out.
He didn't throw his helmet like he did that one time, but
Castellanos did respond with a home run tonight.
Even better.
With it being September 11th, why wouldn't he?
Right.
Nick that has to be, it's the biggest coincidence in sports.
Exactly.
That when something is going on, Nick Castellanos is going to hit a home run.
Yep. Should have just bet on it right away.
But
what were the odds for that? That's what you should look up.
I'd have to look up what his anytime home run. Hold on, I actually do have a Twitter page I can find this on. Speaking of home run odds, though, while I'm looking this up, have you seen the Paw Patrol curse?
No.
So there's a curse going around, or fans being kind of making fun of curses and stuff in baseball. But there is a curse. He was plus 625 to hit a home run today. So if you bet $10, you go home with $62.50 plus your initial 10.
Nice.
This is probably one of my other favorite things going on in the world of sports right now is the Paw Patrol curse. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, and Sean, you look just as confused as anybody. So not too long, I believe it was within the last week and a half, and I don't have specifics on this, but Aaron Judge appeared as himself in an episode of Paw Patrol.
I did hear about this.
So in the episode of Paw Patrol, I don't know if he had to hit X amount of home runs in a row or what the deal was. I have, again, not a big Paw Patrol watcher, but I have seen this on TikTok where on his last pitch or something to that effect, he hits a home run, but he breaks his lucky bat in the show, a cartoon. So it's not even a real bat. But since that has happened, Aaron Judge has been in a rough position offensively. And it, again, is probably one of my favorite things going on in sports right now, where he has not, so it's been 14 games going into today. So yesterday they tweeted this out. The episode debuted on August 26th. I saw this courtesy of Fox Sports MLB. Since that happened, which this was yesterday afternoon or yesterday evening, so you can extend this now to today, Aaron Judge has not homered in now 14 straight games. 15 straight games. And since then, I believe he's like 6 of... I saw one at one point he was like 7 of 42. And he's one of the league leaders in average there as well. So this is his longest streak of not hitting a home run since 2019. Going into today, he's 7 of his last 42 with 17 strikeouts in that time frame as well. Batting up, so it's a $159, 42.1% strikeout rate since he has broken his bat on Paw Patrol.
So Paw Patrol curse and Madden curse, all right along with each other.
Sean, I didn't need that reminder. We're talking baseball right now. I'm pretty happy about something, but I didn't need that. What are you doing? What are we doing?
It's kind of karma for cheating to get the first overall pick in the.
I did not cheat. Be very clear on that. There is video evidence that I did not cheat. I can release it if it's fully requested. It seems kind of silly to do so because it is an online randomized timer.
You change the sliders.
I can show you me setting it up, and it's on video. I have the video of me screen recording with Justin on our episode.
Yeah, it's awful convenient that you and Justin both got the number 1 and 2 picks.
It is indeed. It's a coincidence. It's not convenience. It's not causal. It's just a coincidence. Mm-hmm. But the Paw Patrol curse, and for what it's worth, the Brewers also kind of were battling a curse themselves. The Sexyy Red curse, Sean. This potentially could have been a thing. I don't know how caught up on the rap scene you currently are. No. But there is a female rapper who goes by the name Sexyy Red. And she was scheduled to throw up the first pitch on Sunday. When the Brewers made the announcement, they actually went on tied their longest losing streak of the season. They had lost 3 in a row, which is still the only team that has not lost 4 in a row. And then Friday, they would announce that due to canceled concerts in the Midwest, she was no longer able to make that attendance on Sunday. Brewers would lose that Friday game, so that was their 3rd loss, but able to rebound Saturday, not lose 4 straight, got to win Saturday, proceeded to lose Sunday, which would have been the appearance, but the Brewers may have lifted the Sexyy Red curse. But Aaron Judge still going through it on the Paw Patrol curse.
And CMC with the Madden curse. It's okay.
Again, what are we doing? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do this?
I don't know, but
there's no need.
49ers showed anybody can run the ball in that offense. So
I just so happen to think they just have 2 good guys. I mean, I have. Well, let's just talk about this, I guess, if we're going to talk about it. So we're going to switch from the world of baseball to football. And what Shawna is referring to is, first of all, the Madden curse, where the cover athlete of that year's game of Madden ends up either sucking or getting injured and missing games. I believe this goes back starting in 2004. Is really when it kind of took off with Michael Vick, where he got his busted leg in the preseason or early on in that season. And since then, I think it's happened more frequently than it hasn't. I'd have to look and see exactly.
06, 04 was Vick, 05 was McNabb, 06 was...
Nope, 05 was Ray Lewis, 06 was McNabb, 07 Sean Alexander, 08 Vince Young, 09 was Favre, 10 was
Peyton Hillis.
The combination of... Nope, 10 was... Larry Fitzgerald and Palomalu. 11 was Breeze. 12 was Peyton Hillis. No.
Yep.
Yes. 12 was Peyton Hillis. Madden 13 was
Adrian?
No, that was Madden 14 that they also called Madden 25 because that was the 25th anniversary of it. Madden 13 was...
Oh, man. Madden 13. Can't think of Madden 13.
Yeah, no, I'm struggling with this too.
I don't know. We'll look it up here.
Well, and so I have a news story that CBS just did on the Madden curse to see if it still exists with 25 years of Madden cover athletes. So 2001, it starts with Eddie George.
Yep.
Eddie George did rush for 1,500 yards, but had a career high in fumbles that season. CBS rates him cursed. 2002, Dante Culpepper of the Minnesota Vikings started the season, or went 33 touchdowns, 11 of 5 as a starter in 2000. Injuries cost him 6 games. He fumbled 16 times and threw just 14 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Verdict is cursed. 2003, Marshall Faulk. Missed half a dozen starts. Never topped 1,000 yards after that again. Cursed. 2004, Michael Vick. He would fracture his fibula less than a week after the game's release. And of course, you all know the legal aspect of things that he had as well. So that and curse, they're real as well. The first cover athlete to break the curse by CBS Sports definition, Baltimore's Ray Lewis, 2005. He did drop from 6 interceptions to 0, and the Ravens missed the playoffs, but that's kind of nitpicking per their standard. Logged 147 tackles. So with that in mind, they go not cursed. 06, Donovan McNabb. In 2005, he would go rock bottom. He had the whole fight with Terrell Owens that was so public. Missed half of a 6-10 season, and he missed 8 more games over the next 2 seasons too. So he goes back to cursed. Shawn Alexander goes 2007, as we kind of talked about. Just had a piss poor year. Gone from 1,880 yards to 896, and then within 2 years out of the league. Cursed. 2008, Vince Young was the offensive rookie of the year in 2006. Cover year, he threw 9 touchdowns compared to 17 interceptions, missed a game, and sat the bench in 2008, never fully regaining Jeff Fisher's trust. 2009, Brett Favre goes to New York. Did get hurt, did not miss any games. The streak was still alive, but had 22 interceptions that season. So curse lives there. Fitzgerald and Palomalu. Palomalu did miss 11 games that season due to an MCL injury. So half cursed, the distinction there. Drew Brees, 2011. Had an off year for himself. Through a career and franchise record, 22 interceptions. And of course, we all know about the loss to the 7-9 Seahawks that is more known as the Beast Mode Beastquake with Marshawn Lynch. 2012, Peyton Hillis. Not to say much about that one. 2013 was Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
He was not cursed. So for his stake, he had a historic season that year. So seemingly broke the curse. Adrian Peterson was 2014. That was the whole Madden 25 weirdness. They define him as half cursed because he did top 1,000 yards. It was a major dip compared to his previous season, which was 2,000 yards. And then he missed all but one game the following season after his alleged child abuse. So half cursed there. 2015, Richard Sherman, interception total dropped. Seahawks failed to repeat, but still on top of his game, so they wrote not cursed. 2016, OBJ had a great year. Did have a 1-game suspension due to a fight with Josh Norman when those two hated each other, but not cursed. 2017, Rob Gronkowski brings the curse back when he missed the first 4 games with a hamstring injury and then finished with just 6 starts due to a herniated disc and other injuries. So the curse came back 2017. 2018 was Tom Brady, not cursed. 2019, Antonio Brown. I'm going to leave that one at that. Definition of cursed. Did have a career high 15 touchdowns, but was traded because of locker room behavior, and we all kind of know what's happened since then. Patrick Mahomes, not cursed in 2022. Lamar Jackson, not cursed. 2022 was Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, not cursed. 2023, John Madden, posthumously posted, so I guess you could say not cursed. 2024, Josh Allen, not cursed. Did have a disappointing postseason. But
I was expecting him to say a little bit cursed because didn't he have a career high in interceptions last year?
It does not indicate that because they write that Allen was the first Bills player to ever grace the cover while he couldn't end Buffalo's streak of disappointing post finishes and maintained a penchant for turnovers. So yes, he did score 40-plus total touchdowns for the fourth straight year, serving as the chief reason for the Bills' late season turnaround, and he remains the centerpiece of their title hope. So they gave a not cursed verdict. So if you're following along and doing the math, of the 24 cover athletes, 14 of them were cursed. So it comes up to about 58%. But just 2.5 of the last 10 have been cursed. So it seemingly was starting to break. Now, Christian McCaffrey, the cover athlete this season, has now missed the first game of the season, may miss the second game. And the emergence of Jordan Mason is maybe saying, like Sean said, anybody can run behind that line. I think that's not the case as a whole. No. A healthy Christian McCaffrey is still one of the best players in the NFL. But it is worth noting that the curse may or may not be back. I hope it's the latter, as I do have him in 2 fantasy leagues. But I do have Jordan Mason in 3. So if that would be the case, against a pretty staunch Jets defense, Jordan Mason had a pretty good game. Got me a couple wins this week. I was pretty happy with his efforts. So for my sake, should he be out, I do have the second best option as well.
And you have also in the Root for Wisconsin League, don't you?
I do. Which brings me to my next thing. Just a quick updated standings on the Root for Wisconsin League. After 1 week, we'll go through here and go through our scoreboard for week 1 and preview week number 2. In week number 1, Mish Fish took down Cup My Life into pieces. That's me taking down Sean, 131.76 to 118.02. Justin got a win over Ramsey, 119.2 to 91.38. It was Team Ledubik taking down the reigning champion Tyson Hala, 105.48 to 88.88 for Tyson. Dave Muller taking down Jordan Fifield, 116.68 to 102.68. Secretary Shawna taking down Team Tornator with Shawna's Easy, Breezy, Beautiful, 112.42 to 98.64. And in the nicest way possible, the game that features a couple of perennial bottom of the standings teams in a week 1 matchup. Jordan Fields taking down Mark Fisher. Kittles and Bits taking down Kick and Butker, 123.92 to 102.4. Our week 2 matchups, I take on Ramsey, so Commish Fish at only Rams 5. Sean, you have Cut My Life into pieces taking on the Lambeau Chef, Zach Ledubik. Team Dahl taking on the U Hala Hala, Justin Dahl taking on Tyson. Shauna takes on Jordan Fifield, Tribal Chief. The Battle of Ohio, Dave Muller and Jordan Fields, Built Ford Tough taking on Kittles and Bits. And Kick and Butker, Mark Fisher taking on Team Tornator in the last game of the week as well. So that is your Root for Wisconsin Fantasy League update. Switching gears over to football, let's start with the college game first, Sean. The Wisconsin Badgers did move to 2-0. For the second straight week, they did not cover. They took down the South Dakota Coyotes 27-13. They were 18.5-point favorites. So they only win by 14. A little bit of a backdoor not cover. They were knocking on the door, had a chance to score, but ended up kneeling down in the final minute of the game. So not that you can bet on it in Wisconsin due to state law, but if you had money on that game that Wisconsin was going to cover, you would have lost. Ches Malusi ran for 2 touchdowns and had a game-high Oh, not a game high. He had 60 yards on 16 carries. Cade Yakimelli had 8 carries, 73 yards for the Badgers to lead the Badgers. Darian Dupree, 6 for 24. Dylan Jones, 4 for 14. Jackson Aker, 1 for 4. And Tyler Van Dyke had 6 carries for -4 yards. Tyler Van Dyke through the air, 17 to 27. Did throw for a touchdown. His first throwing touchdown of the season. It was CJ Williams for a touchdown, a 50-yard catch and run. For Williams, he had 2 catches, 53, the long being 50 yards on the score. Will Pauling, 4 for 48. Vinny Anthony, 2 for 41. Bryson Green, 3 for 38. Cade Yakimelli, 2 for 13. Jackson Aker, 2 for 11. Trechka Kahuna, 1 for 8. And Ches Belusi, 1 catch on 2 yards there. Vinny Anthony did lose a fumble as well as a receiver. And Ches Belusi did fumble once, but was able to recover. So Badgers, not exactly the game that you would want to see them going into their final non-conference game, which is a big one coming up this week against Alabama at home.
Steamrolled.
Bama comes into Camp Randall as a 16-point favorite. Bama took down South Florida 42-16 this past week. They were trailing. It was a closer game than that score indicates. Going into the fourth quarter, that game was a 14-13 game before a 28-3 fourth quarter by Alabama set things up. Jaden Milroe threw for 2 touchdowns. Jam Miller ran for a 56-yard touchdown, and Justin Haynes for a 29-yard touchdown in that fourth quarter. All of which came, by the way, so it wasn't like they even kind of got like one on the front end, like at 14:49 or anything like that. The first Alabama touchdown happened with 10 minutes to go in the ball game. Jaden Milroe for his effort, 16 of 26, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jam Miller, 15 carries, 140 yards, and a score to pace the Crimson Tide. Week 1, they took down Western Kentucky 63-0. I'm just not going to go through that game because it would make me sad. Poor Hilltoppers did not stand a chance from the get-go. This was just domination there. So 16-point spread for week number 3 with the Badgers' third game at Camp Randall. And
where's College Game Day this week?
That is a good question. I believe this game is the Fox Big Noon kickoff. So Fox's pregame will be there in Madison. Let me take a look. College Game Day very well could be there as well. College Game Day will be in Columbia, South Carolina for the Gamecocks taking on LSU this week.
Okay.
So it'll not be a dual effort like it was this past week.
Gotcha.
But, I'm going to say, for Badger fans, this can go one of 2 ways. Option 1.
They get steamrolled.
The game's at 11. You move on with your Saturday. You're probably moving on from that game by noon, maybe noon 30. And you're able to just kind of move on with your day. Watch them get their shit kicked in and move on to the other games for the weekend, which there are some good ones going across college football this weekend. Or, I can't even say this seriously, 7.9% of the matchup predictor, according to ESPN Analytics, so an 8% chance that Wisconsin shocks the world after struggling with 2 FCS teams. In a shocking, or no, I should take that back, 1 FCS team and Western Michigan, which is a bona fide, pretty okay MAC team. I won't sell anybody too short. But in the less than 8% chance that Wisconsin comes out and lights the world on fire, well, that's a hell of a way to start your Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I would not. I can't legally anyway, but Sean, if I was able to bet on this game, I would not touch it with a 30-foot pole. Badgers plus 550. So $10 down gets you 55 plus your initial $10. So I mean, it could be worse. It's probably not the most outstanding odds of the weekend. Again, wouldn't want to bet that game and wouldn't want to be in those shoes, but it is a game that is happening. For the top 25 teams who are playing this week, I will say they do have this going for them. Number 6 Missouri takes on Boston College at an 11:45 a.m. kickoff. Equal odds there, with actually a pretty close to equal spread. So Missouri expected to take down Boston College in that one. Georgia takes on Kentucky, ranked versus unranked. Number 1 Georgia. Kentucky plus 1,500 in that game. And a 24-point favorite is Georgia. The biggest spread, it looks like, across the top 25 teams this week goes to the honor of Tennessee, who will take on Kent State on Saturday evening. Tennessee, a 49-point favorite over Kent State. So, Badger fans have that going for them.
But what was the Notre Dame one this weekend from this last weekend? Who took down Notre Dame?
That was Northern Illinois. Going into that game, just for conversation's sake, that game was 28.5 for Notre Dame was the point spread. I do not show what the initial betting odds on that game were, but I know it was pretty drastic.
Right.
So it's doable. It's not impossible. It's incredibly unlikely.
But Notre Dame's horrible every year because they don't play anybody. But
yeah, again, it's doable. I mean, the Badgers have done something similar in the past. It's been a while, but you point back to that game against Ohio State, the David Gilreath touchdown return to start the game, also known as the J.J. Watt coming out party. So again, not impossible. If the Badgers are going to do this, let's hope and pray that this would happen. But for the Badgers to make this happen, a couple things. First and foremost, Chez Mellusi in the run game would probably need to have their best game of the season. Which that really... Chez Mellusi runs hard, has great vision, did start his career at Clemson, so a very highly touted back who's just trying to get back right after an injury. Badgers offensive line, typically speaking, has usually had a size advantage in games. Now, how that compares to Alabama in 2024, we shall see. I'm going to wager that Alabama will, at the very least, be even on the offensive line front. Also going to take Tyler Van Dyke, former Miami quarterback, to have probably the game of his life, but he's a very highly touted prospect as well when he was coming out of high school. So, again, while you play the game, it's not completely impossible. It's incredibly unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
I would not pick Wisconsin to win this game.
No.
As much as I want to be a home fan and root for the Badgers, but I wouldn't pick them.
Are they ranked?
The Badgers or Alabama?
Yeah. Both.
The Badgers are not ranked. Alabama is the 4th ranked team in the country.
Okay.
This does start a span for the Badgers where it is going to be some tough sledding. Back-to-back weeks, you've got Alabama, and then you go travel out to USC a week from this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 tough opponents in a row. Alabama, for their sake, I guess the only thing you kind of have the Badgers. I can't even say this as accurately, but maybe a trap game because they have a bye next week and then take on Georgia the following week. So maybe they're looking forward to their bye and focusing on Georgia. I'm gonna say that's not going to happen, but I wouldn't completely rule it out.
No, no way.
I wish I could be more positive for our Wisconsin fan listeners, and I want them to win this probably about as bad as most of us do.
Right.
But I think I'm realistic enough to know that this just ain't happening this week.
Mm-hmm.
Do your best, be as competitive as possible, and build on this going forward. But this game is going to very much serve. I think the best thing that can happen out of this game, barring a crazy upset win, realistically would be for Wisconsin to be able to compare themselves to this program and take a look at where they need to go going forward. I still think Luke Fickell is a solid option as a head coach. I think they just need a little bit more time to continue recruiting and continue building. There is the academic standards that kind of hurts them here versus other Power 5 or Power 4 football schools out there, but definitely on the end of if you're a Wisconsin Badger fan, a Wisconsin Badger donor even, you've got to be able to look at what's going to happen, and if you want to compete with teams like this and look to get into an expanded playoff, there's got to be a more concerted effort out there to continue to build this team. So that's the college football front. We switch gears to the NFL front. Packers losing in week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. And Sean, I'm going to ask you your initial takeaways on the Packers' loss to the Eagles.
I pretty much saw same old Packers. I thought the defense looked horrible. I really did. And we got off to that slow start and just couldn't get it going. I didn't think Jacobs looked that great. I don't know if it was just rust from nobody playing in the preseason or what it was, but it was just a bad game, I thought. And they still almost came out and won. I mean, they had a chance at the end, but I didn't think the defense looked that great. They couldn't stop the run like normal. And it was just rough.
Yeah, so I had a couple. I think initially speaking, when I first watched this game, I had some of those same thoughts on my end. Was definitely not kind of the high level that I expected them to come out with.
Right.
I think we kind of missed this in our Nuggies section, but the field at Sao Paulo was absolutely atrocious, and just further proof that if the NFL is going to play these international games and continue to go overseas and play in soccer stadiums, they need to play in stadiums that aren't actively being played for soccer. Because there was a soccer game there less than a week before that, and soccer fields they're just groomed differently.
Mm-hmm.
They are groomed for lighter athletes to be able to slide.
Right.
And not for 250, 300-pound grown men like digging in and going through the trenches like that.
Didn't they do an interview with J.J. Watt where he said this? Because his wife's a soccer player, right?
I don't know if it was an interview or if it was just him on social media, but yeah, that's where I kind of really I saw that, and it made a lot of sense, right? Like that makes an incredible amount of sense, and it kind of, first of all, it validated what a lot of us thought watching it, because I know watching it was like, this is atrocious. Like the fact that they're playing this game and that like players couldn't leave their hotel at all, and
just worried about switching cleats and all that kind of stuff the whole time too is like
right. Now, I do want to say I did do my rewatch for Lombardi Ave and did have some different takeaways. So initial watch of that game, Sean, I probably agreed with you. I think the the run defense was significantly worse than it had, or just kind of on par with what it had been. Upon rewatching and taking kind of a look into it, yeah, you don't want Saquon Barkley going off for two touchdowns on the ground and 109 yards. At the end of the day, 24 carries, 109 yards, 4.5 yards per carry. That could have been a lot worse. It felt a lot worse than what that comes out to.
Mm-hmm.
Other takeaway I had, defensively speaking, the Packers forced the Eagles to be 4 of 14 on third downs, which there was a drive right before halftime where I think they got 2 or 3 on that drive. And I know they had the one on third down they got by penalty in the final drive that they had of the game that set up essentially their closeout field goal. But defensively, I think the game went a lot better on the rewatch and once you kind of put the numbers in perspective than it did on the initial eye test. The 2 interceptions, also another huge positive. Sean, I don't know if you know this. If you had to guess, do you know how many interceptions the team had last year? Because it wasn't a lot.
The Packers as a team?
Yeah, as a team last year, how many did they have?
5.
Pretty close. They had 7, 2 of which were Rasul Douglas, so that the end of year roster had 5.
Right. Okay.
So 5 or 7 as a team last year, forced 2 in week 1, and an additional. I think they had a fumble recovery as well on that second possession of the game. So 3 turnovers. I was pretty impressed by that. I think a little bit of a learning curve with Jeff Hafley kind of getting back to being a defensive coordinator. Has not been a defensive coordinator since 2019. It could have been worse. I think it's pretty much the biggest takeaway from all facets of the game, especially when we talk about the injury that happens at the end of the game to Jordan Love, where he ends up spraining his MCL after getting twisted on a kind of wrap-up play. Nothing dirty, I think. I don't. There's some people out there on social media who's saying it was a dirty play. I didn't really think it was. I mean,
right. I didn't think so either.
If I'm gonna go that route, it wasn't the cleanest play I've ever seen in my life. It was scrappy, but it was within the game.
Yeah, it was a play. I mean,
so yeah, Love goes and gets hurt. Initially, obviously, everyone and their brother fears Achilles because of what happened to Rodgers. That's all fresh in our brains. ACL is the big fear when somebody can, I just had flashbacks to Jordy Nelson in that Pittsburgh preseason game where he could walk, but tore his ACL and you just kind of knew.
right.
Ends up with the sprained MCL, could miss potentially anywhere from 0 games to up to 6. It sounds like it's going to be on the lighter end of that, maybe 1 or 2 if I'm guessing. Matt LaFleur did say that while he didn't practice this week, he's still on the table. I think that's mostly gamesmanship. I don't think that's accurate, but I wouldn't expect him to play this week. But maybe the mini bye is going to end up saving them.
Right. The thing that I'm getting at here with the whole thing is we paid Josh Jacobs just as much money as they're paying Saquon Barkley, and he did nothing even close to what Barkley did.
So
that's just the issue I got with it, because that's all I'm kind of comparing for the running back wise.
So I'm gonna ask you this, and I did my rewatch series for Lombardi Ave, so I kind of have this in my back pocket, but I'm gonna ask you. So Josh Jacobs ends the game with It was 16 carries for 84 yards. Comes out to an average, I believe it's just over 5 per carry. Yeah, just over 5.3 per carry. 16 carries, 84 yards, no touchdowns. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his over-under for rushing yards for the prop bets out there was 65. So still, he exceeded that expectation. But what really strikes me of this 16 for 84 is that I saw this graphic pulled up rewatching the game, and it ends up kind of being a perfect halfway point. Through his first 8 carries, he only had 12 yards, which is what, 1 point something?
Yeah, 1.5.
So his last 8, he ends up with 8 carries for 74, and looked a lot better doing it. That was mostly in the second half. So I agree. I would have liked to see more. You know, when you compare him to Saquon, if you play strictly based on numbers, if we go based on average, if you give 8 more carries to Josh Jacobs because Saquon had 24, you give him 8 more carries based on a 5.3, tax on 120 yards as well, or a total of 120, tax on another 40. I would like to have seen that with the 16 carries. Obviously, I think everybody would.
We would like to see more of the second half and the first half, but
yeah.
And I'd like to see him used in the passing game a little bit more. Not that I'm saying it's his fault, but
You know, and I don't want to be the guy to blame field conditions and blame all that, but it really makes me wonder. I mean, Josh Jacobs is a hell of a running back, right? Like he's not terrible. He had the injury season last year where he struggled, but 8 for 12. He's getting touched before the line of scrimmage. I think that's more on the offensive line than it is him. But also, again, if the line can't get grip on their shoes, or if they're struggling, and he's struggling with footing, there is something to all that. So I'm going to give a couple games as to if he's a bust or not. I know our friend Mondo was just initially first carry, bust, and every time he touched the ball, bust.
It was kind of the perfect game to compare because they both signed the big contracts, right around $12 million a year.
Sure.
And just what Barkley did compared to what Jacobs did, it was just.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And the eye test, I think, is one of those where it was a lot worse than it actually was. Like the naked eye and how bad he struggled in the first half hurts him a lot.
That was the main thing.
So I definitely, we look at as we get into our pick segment what Shawna has decided to join us for. So Packers going into this week are technically underdogs for the game. As of right now, we're expecting Malik Willis to be the quarterback. The line shifted by about 7 points. It was initially that they were going to be a 3 to 4 point favorite. They are currently a 3-point dog. I'm going to say, I think if Malik Willis can, he's in his second week with the offense. If he's going to succeed in the NFL, he's got a better quarterback coach now here with Tom Clements than he did in Tennessee. I would argue probably a better offensive mindset than he would have in Tennessee in his 2 years there. And I'd also, Derrick Henry, probably a better overall back than what Josh Jacobs is.
He didn't look very good on, was that Thursday night?
Correct. But for the last 2 seasons, I'd say it's probably close. In 11 games, Malik Willis was no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I think like a 60% completion rate, but not playing significant minutes in those games.
Right.
I think only 3 of them were starts, so he's probably getting a lot of mop up, hand the ball off to the backup back, and call her a night.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, for him to succeed in Green Bay, I actually feel pretty confident that they will get a win this week. In the sense, I think the weaponry around him is going to be better here than it would have been in Tennessee. Offensive line, running back, and passing game. I think Matt LaFleur is probably a little bit better. Not that Tom Clements is going to make a world of difference in the first 2 weeks. It takes some time to build a relationship with your quarterback coach and really make stark improvements. But 2 weeks is pretty, there is some time to kind of correct some of the easy stuff at the surface. But better receivers, a more dynamic passing game here in Green Bay than what they had in Tennessee. When you look at the options of, Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs underneath and Tucker Kraft underneath versus Luke Musgrave and Christian Watson and Bo Melton, Dontavian Wicks kind of over the top. You spread it out a lot more. You have a lot more dynamic playmakers there as well. I feel pretty confident in that. Stopping Anthony Richardson is going to be a top priority, and Jonathan Taylor. It's not much different than last week. That was a big challenge that the Packers had, is trying to stay home on a quarterback who can run while also taking on a dynamic back.
Right.
And I think that's a challenge that Green Bay is going to face this week. Maybe some hometown cooking and the field conditions might help them out a little bit in that capacity too. Getting Edgerrin Cooper up to speed is going to be helpful there as well.
He did look good. I thought
he looked good. He played very limited snaps, but you could very much tell that he is going to be significant as he kind of gets back up to speed after missing so much preseason time. I was very impressed with Javon Bullard as well as the rookies go. And
real happy with McKinney.
I was going to say Xavier McKinney is going to be worth every cent you paid him if he keeps playing at the level he did against Philadelphia, which, I got to say, I was not surprised that he ended up with the interception in the first drive of the game. He's had probably the most experience with Jalen Hurts, being in the same division, having 4 games against him. And then also just the idea of Kellen Moore defenses or offenses struggle with safeties. Like, if you have a dynamic safety who can kind of make good reads, Packers have shown that in those matchups against Kellen Moore, safeties eat if they're able to make the read. So
he kind of gives you a little Charles Woodson vibes.
100%. 100%. Just a different number.
Yeah, just a bad number.
That happens when you come in after a first-round draft pick has the same number.
Right.
All right. Well, without further ado, Sean, let's go through our picks. Shawna, you have the picks ready?
Yeah, but I want to report on last week.
Okay. Well, hop on over. Come on.
Here I go.
We're waiting. Sean, can you hear her?
No.
She's not talking right now. So
Okay, here I go.
can you hear her now when she was talking?
I don't know. She's got to be louder.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. So here is Secretary Shawna with the report of last week.
All right, suckers. I'm here with the report. Eric comes in with a measly 9 correct. Loser. Sean comes in with a measly 10 correct. And it is your Secretary Shawna that comes in with 12 correct picks, boys.
Hell for that, but
I did. That's exciting. You guys suck.
all right.
All right, I got the picks. I'm going to read them because I wrote them down already.
All right. What order are we picking in?
Sean, Shauna, Rick.
Okay, so Sean, you're first.
Bills, Dolphins.
Go first.
Bills, Dolphins, Sean.
Dolphins.
Sean's going Dolphins.
I'm going Bills.
I think I'm going to go Bills as well, We don't know who the running back's going to be for Miami. Mostert's already been ruled out. A-Chain's a game time decision. Give me the Bills.
We got Niners, Queens.
Niners, Minnesota.
Niners.
Niners for Sean.
Niners for Shawna.
Niners for Eric.
Then we got Seahawks, Patriots.
Seahawks, Pats, Sean.
Seahawks.
Seahawks for Sean.
Seahawks for Shawna.
Seahawks for Eric.
Okay, then we got Giants, Commanders.
Washington and the Giants. That game is in Washington.
Washington.
Sean's going Commanders.
Going the Giants.
I am also going Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a fantastic home debut, and as bad as the rest of the team looked around him, I think he's going to get a win this week.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, Panthers.
Chargers, Panthers. Yeah.
Chargers all day.
Yeah, Sean also went Chargers. I'm going Chargers.
I can't even sell $1 ticket.
Panthers look so bad this week.
Saints, boys.
Saints and Cowboys, Sean.
Cowboys.
Sean's going Cowboys.
I'm going the boys.
Give me the Saints in an upset. I know they were playing Carolina, but Derek Carr looked good. Again, playing Carolina, but I think we could argue that Cleveland was also that bad. And the Cowboys are a little bit of an illusion. They usually have an early season loss.
Colts, Packers.
Colts, Packers, Sean, what's your pick?
Colts.
Sean's going with the Colts.
Shawna is going with the Packers.
Shauna's riding the Packers. I'm going to go with the Packers as well.
Browns, Jags.
Browns, Jaguars, Sean.
Let me go Jaguars.
Sean's going to go Jacksonville.
Shawna's going the Browns.
Really? Why?
I think I have one Brown on my team, and I have faith in him.
That is a mistake. I'm going to go with the Jags.
Yeah, okay, guys. Talk to the winner, okay?
We'll see
Jets,
next week.
Titans.
Jets, Titans, Sean.
Jets.
Jets for Sean.
I'm going Jets, 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 Jets.
Aaron Rodgers, big bounce back week. Jets.
Bucks, Lions.
Detroit, Tampa Bay.
Ooh.
I hate that this is a noon game.
Right? This should be a 3:30 game.
For sure.
I'm gonna go Bucks.
Sean's going Tampa Bay.
I thought the Bucks looked good.
Going Lions.
You know what? I'm going to go Bucks as well. I liked what I saw from Tampa Bay, and I think Baker in year 2, Mike Evans still healthy and looked good. Chris Godwin had a touchdown.
Raiders, Ravens.
Raiders, Ravens.
Ravens.
Sean's going Baltimore.
Me too. Ravens.
Yeah, make that all the way around. That's not going to be that tough of a game for them.
Rams, Cards.
Rams.
Rams for Sean, Rams for Eric.
Excuse me, you're not allowed to be picking right now. Rams for Shawna as well.
Okay.
Bengals, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Sean's going with the Chiefs.
Shawna is going with the Chiefs.
Ooh, she's not going Joey?
You're not going Joey?
No, they fucking suck. Is he Joey at home though?
No, they're in Kansas City.
Yeah, they're definitely losing.
Yeah, this is the 325 game. It's gonna be a tough one to watch. Give me the Chiefs. I want to pick against you guys and try to make up a couple games, but this is not the one to do it.
Steelers, Broncos.
What was it? Sorry.
Steelers, Broncos.
Steelers. Justin Fields all the way.
Sean's going with the Steelers. I am too. I hate everything about that game, though.
Turn.
Bears, Texans.
Sunday Night Football, Bears, Texans.
What was Shawna's pick? I missed it.
She was also going Steelers.
Oh. What's the last one?
Sunday Night Football, we got Bears, Texans.
Texans and the Bears coming off.
Technically.
What?
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Again?
Yep. They won me last week, so
What?
Sean's going with the Bears again.
Go Texans.
I'm also going Texans. The Bears were so bad last week, and the Bears' offense was so bad last week. Caleb Williams just it did.
we'll see.
We got Monday night, Battle of the Birds, Falcons, Eagles.
Eagles.
Sean's going Eagles.
Same.
I'm also going Eagles.
Fly, Eagles fly.
Is there something wrong?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
okay.
answer that.
Did you hear my eagle screech before?
No, I did not hear your eagle screech before.
I was singing in the shower. It got all patriotic. I screeched like an eagle.
Great stuff for the listener, Shawna.
I know.
Oh, did you ask her if you our question for her before?
Nope.
Oh, you're not gonna?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, just around the division, all the NFC North teams won this week except the Packers. In very different ways. The Bears looked terrible offensively. Just
You gotta give a shout out to Jonathan Owens for scoring a touchdown though.
I don't gotta do shit. I'm not a fan.
What was it? Jonathan Owens and the Wilson guy from the Cardinals. They're both dating Olympians.
Oh, are
and
they?
Scored a touchdown. Yeah, that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna acknowledge Jonathan Owens at all. I thought he was a bum here as a whole, and I don't miss
But
him.
you thought you were a bum, so
Probably. But the Bears won. Caleb Williams, that's the other thing. And Caleb Williams doing the interview after the game, and you're the first rookie, first overall pick to win their MLB or their NFL debut game in like 20-some years or whatever. It's like he didn't do
who was
shit.
it? Who was the last one?
Couldn't tell you.
David Carr.
Yeah. So great company to be in. David Carr, Caleb Williams, same amount of bust. 93 yards for a starting quarterback. 2 sacks for 29 yards. 64 net yards for the top overall pick.
Doesn't matter. It's still a W.
No offensive points scored. 17-point comeback. I'll give credit where credit's due. But
Still a win. Doesn't matter.
I think they're going to get knocked back down to earth hard this week against a significantly better team than they played this last week.
We'll see.
All right. Well, let's put a bow on this episode for the week, Sean. We got to start with our Ticket Smarter Ticket of the Week. And our Ticket Smarter Ticket of the Week. You know what? We did Madison last week. We're going to do Madison again this weekend for the Badgers against Alabama. Ticket prices have come down since we last talked last week. You can get in the door on the cheapest end, the cheapest tickets available via Ticket Smarter, down to $98. Almost a $150 decrease from last week. Use code ROOTS10 for $10 off. Additionally, as well, in your total purchase, code ROOTS10, ROOTS number 10. And with that said, Sean, what are you rooting for in the upcoming week?
Just I don't know. Fall weather again, I think. I think we're going to apple picking Sunday. And I'm gonna go see the new Beetlejuice movie. I'm excited for that.
Did not
So I'm
tell you
excited for Beetlejuice.
I don't know. I can't say it because it's you have to say, you can't say it 3 times, and you've said twice.
You got to say it 3 times in a row, dummy.
Oh, sorry, I don't know the rules, but
Didn't you watch Ted?
not in a while. No, I didn't remember Beetlejuice as part of Ted.
Yeah, when they're in the court case.
But I did not peg you as a Beetlejuice kind of guy.
Well, it's a great movie. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh, what's Shawna doing to you? She's got.
Shawna also hasn't. Shawna, have you seen Beetlejuice?
Yes, it's scary.
That's scary.
There's your decision.
Going to see that Saturday, so
That
should be
sounds
fun.
like fun. I'll take your word for it. My root for. You know what? I'm gonna go. Fall. Fall. It's that time. We've got a weekend full of football coming up as well. Got the Wrightstown Tigers taking on the Luxembourg Casco Spartans. Starts off my football weekend. That's where I'll be Friday night. Excited to get back out to Luxembourg Casco. That was just very well out there. So very excited to be back out there for a pretty big game for the Northeastern Conference. And then Timber Rattlers playoff game tomorrow night. Pretty excited for that as well. So for Justin and Ramsey and Dylan who aren't here, for Shawna who made a late appearance, for Sean who's been here all episode, I'm Eric signing off. Episode 158 is in the books. We're out. See you.